Here we are once again. Hashtag Buck Shaggy. Alright, we're here for a podcast today about mental health and pain. Pain, lots of pain.
Chronic pain in particular. Pain that doesn't go away.
Sean, if you'd like to get us going today.
My name's Sean. Hi guys. We're here to talk about a lot of different aspects of mental health. We hope to be doing that over the time and how they relate to chronic pain in general. Myself personally broke my back and pelvis when I was 28 in a workplace accident. Took about 2.5, 3 years of spinal rehab before I could get up and moving again. Then I did a pain management clinic because I was still in pain. And then I did Commonwealth Rehabilitation Service. And you know, that worked out really well. I've almost finished a PhD at university and stuff at the moment. But about 4 years ago or 3 years ago, I realised I was putting up with too much pain, went to the rheumatologist and he said, "Oh mate, I'm sorry, I've got some bad news for you, son." That's about where I am at the moment. Charlie.
Sounds interesting. I can't wait to hear more.
Hi, I am Charlie. I'm 30-something. I am dealing with a chronic pain condition known as complex regional pain syndrome. I don't expect any of you to know what that is. What it basically means is it's a nerve condition problem. So there's nothing actually wrong with this arm, but there's lots and lots and lots of pain. Over here.
Alright, so my name's Mark and I'm here for 2 reasons. Chronic pain, which I've been dealing with for probably a quarter of a century, and mental health and the system. Basically, it hurt my back years ago at work, lifting a trolley over an airline. Haven't been the same since. Can't get diagnosed, can't get treated. It hurts. Same sort of thing, going through some mental problems at the moment. There's been domestic violence, there's been suicide, there's been lots and lots. Into that later. Maybe we'll go back to you, Sean, and give you more of an insight.
So, in general, this is the first, obviously. We want to kind of open it up and talk to people about pain conditions. There's a lot of people that are dealing with pain conditions, whether they acknowledge them or not, and they're dealing with them as a matter of course. As a society, well, you know, we're here in 2020 now. It's absolutely clear to everyone that humans are living for much, much longer than they did. Only a generation or two ago. My grandfather was dead at 51. Probably because he didn't look after himself very well, but also because he was diagnosed or had a rheumatic fever, as it was described at the time. Very, very similar kind of age to me, about 48. That he had an onset. And the only way to deal with those things then, particularly in the part of Ireland that I come from, was alcohol. Yeah, and that's one of the things that basically has, I became aware of very early when I was doing the pain management clinic. One of the things that a nurse called Amel Halal, who was running it from the Royal Prince Alfred Clinic in Camperdown, separated us all by genders at the very start and said, took all the guys into the room and said, basically guys, stats aren't very good for you. About 50% of you that make it to here won't survive the next 5 years if you don't manage to get a handle on a technique to deal with the pain that you're actually experiencing. Because it will devastate your relationships, it will destroy your working life, it will basically destroy your personal sanity as well, because you will drink and you will take drugs and you will, you know, pursue drug-seeking activities.
Which obviously
not that that's in any way condemnatory. It's completely understandable in the situation. But as Mark says, it's going to damage your life broadly. So what we want to do is really sort of connect with people that may be in similar situations at the moment. Talk about how we have dealt with the problems that we have and the bottlenecks in systemic care that we've encountered.
Nice term.
Yeah. Okay. Does that make sense?
I have to talk
Yeah? How would you like to go ahead with that, guys? I mean,
Charlie, is there anything more in depth about your personal situation, your things that you'd like to go into now?
Absolutely. I think the pain management group before, like, I was in a job that I loved, working crazy amount of hours, but loved what I was doing, and then all of a sudden I found myself in a situation where not only could I not do my job, I couldn't take care of myself. I could barely get off the couch, and it broke me, to be honest. It was my right hand. I'm right-handed. I'm a writer, but that's not what I was doing for work at the time. It was part of it, but that's a whole other story. And if it wasn't for the pain management group, which I point out I really had to fight to get into, and it still took, I think it was 9 months before I got in there. If it wasn't for them and a really good counsellor, I have no idea where I would be at the moment. They helped me break the negative thought patterns that were building into the deepest depression. And they helped me get a handle on what I was doing to my relationships, not purposely. I didn't even realise I was doing it so often, but I would be mean to people I loved. Yeah, sabotage is the word.
mm-hmm.
And I was doing it to people I loved, who were helping me, who were the very last people that I needed to do that to, and anytime I did it hurt me. But I also, at the same time, didn't even realise until after it. And if I hadn't gotten access to that service and found some techniques, I genuinely don't know how I could be coping at the moment at all. Yeah.
You feel you're in a better place than you would be without that?
Oh, I genuinely don't know where I would be without that.
Would you recommend these services, friends?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they are a public health thing here in Australia. Like, if you're dealing with chronic pain, get yourself into a pain management group. They're in every public, well, not in every public hospital, but within the system and area of every public hospital system.
The information's available.
Yeah, and like, they're great if you can't travel. They'll organise the transport and all of those kinds of things for you. Also being with other people that are in chronic pain. So finding people that I could just openly and genuinely talk to about what the hell
So
had
once
just
you
happened to my
realise,
life.
okay, these guys have been what I've been through.
Yeah, and they're
I can
going
talk
through
to
it.
them.
Yeah.
And so open up more.
And they even helped me through that. I discovered the medication that was having a really bad impact, not so much on my mental health, but my mental faculties, my memory,
Yep.
my ability to focus, to read, which I just lost the ability to do. Like, I couldn't even remember the names of characters in TV shows I was binge watching. Like, it had gotten to that level, but for some reason I wasn't looking at the medication as a problem. I think he just kind of, well, you just do whatever the doctor says, take whatever he says,
Yeah, it
and hope
becomes
for a good kind of,
very routine because they know what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. But through that was where I learned to question them the way I questioned them for everyone else in my life, for every other relative that had ever had a medical problem. But then it took me quite a while to actually do for myself.
Yep.
But yeah, it was through the conversations I had there with other people, and we started talking about the
Yeah,
impact.
you
And yeah, it helped have such a massive change.
My thoughts on that would be if I was in those shoes and I didn't have those avenues of help and support, I'd probably find myself in a pretty dark place pretty quick.
Yeah.
And that brings on a lot of other sort of bad thoughts, and then all of a sudden you're in a spiral. It doesn't matter how hard you try to get out of it, or correct it, or just try to do something to stop the spiral.
Yeah.
So it's good to have.
So I think we've hit on some really, really interesting topic material to begin with, straight away there. And in the long term, what we hope to do here with this is to actually devote podcasts to individual topics and the way that, care, internal self-dialogue, actual pain management techniques, how they differentiate, how they differ from medication. Some of those things are really, really interesting, and we'll probably go further into that as we go on in individual podcasts. What I think is probably going to be the most effective kind of way of talking to an audience at the moment and talking to them in a way that they might relate to if they're coming to this and learning that pain management and the mental health nexus are very, very interrelated kind of aspects. and that there may be something that is going on in your life that you haven't identified, and this is it. So in that instance, I think what Charlie said there and what Mark said about sabotage and your own personal feelings about that, that's probably the best place to jump into this, right? That internal self-dialogue, yeah, the bit that the conversation that you have with yourself every day, several minutes of every day, etc., etc. To give you a little bit of an understanding about how that affected me, I was 28. My wife was 6 months pregnant when I broke my back with our second child, and there is only 15 months between our two oldest kids.
No pressure.
No pressure, yeah. And I'm an immigrant. All of my family lives on the other side of the world, yeah? So, yeah, one of the really, really big aspects of that for me, and I will utterly admit that this is socially imparted and gender related. I'm sitting here as an immigrant guy who's lived in Australia for most of my life, and I'm not unhappy about that. Much better than the place in Ireland where I was born in, and I'm very, very grateful that I grew up here. But in my early, mid-20s, I met a girl from Ireland and I brought her back here. Yeah, and then you're sitting there. So one of the big aspects of this is, and the first really, really damaging bit of the internal self-dialogue for me was, I brought this girl here. Yeah, and now I can't provide for her. That was really, really critical and utterly damaging at an internal level. Completely damaged my own perspective of who I was myself. And it was only the beginning of further damage. I mean, break your back and pelvis, you're obviously very, very weak in the lower body by the time all of those things heal up. I mean, any of you guys that have been to hospital for your appendix removed know that, you know, that third day when you put your feet out of bed and go to move around, your legs don't respond the way that they previously did.
It's almost like life will dictate, okay, you've broken your leg and your pelvis, now get up and dance.
Yeah, and this is very much, I tried to dance, to use Mark's term. I tried to dance before I realised that I was not dancing with a partner, I was not dancing to a rhythm or a beat, and I was dancing really kind of fearfully because, you know, I've got toddler children. I can't pick them up and move them around anymore. I can't do things. I can't accept that, well, my wife is now the breadwinner. I have to look after the house. And as Charlie just said, on days that you can't get off the bloody couch, yeah? So how do you start to differentiate
How do you adapt
roles?
and overcome?
How do you adapt and overcome? One of the ways was, in the end of the day, modality. I started ending up having, you know, a gripper. I would pick things up off the ground with an extended handle and a gripper. That didn't last that long because, you know, my toddlers realised I wanted the thing on the ground.
If that was me every time I used it, I could not help but go gadget arm.
Yeah. And look, you know, go gadget's good until it's not good. Yeah. Until you realise that that's a form of something that you then become dependent on, and then the internal self-dialogue flips the whole thing over and says, instead of actually working towards progress, look how dependent and whatever your life is. And
Yeah, I
that's
think I was
eventually
more along the
damaging.
lines of, as a coping mechanism
Yeah.
when you had to use that.
Yeah.
Oh, look, oh, bugger, go gadget arm.
Yeah, and
Just to make light of it rather than, oh, shit.
It is, and it works that way for a while. But that internal self-dialogue's a malicious little shit.
I can interject there, and I can see that malicious dialogue can drive you to the darkest places you can think of. And sometimes you put your hand up and you get to these darkest places and you have to. Otherwise you won't find the light again. And this is no way religious.
True.
Yeah, so if I could just touch on the mental health issues that I've had lately. It's very difficult. I had issues where I'll just touch on the part where I had to go into a mental health facility where I was recovering from a suicide attempt. Now that is probably about as dark a place that anybody anybody could go. I don't recommend it. I recommend anything but. But I got taken to a place, and I'm one of these people that will just be open to help. If I need it, I'm not afraid to go, Sean, here's a hand with this. Whether it's lifting something in the backyard or helping me fix something. We actually did that today. It was supposed to be a high care facility place that I was going into. My first point of contact made it clear to me that it was a very safe place to be, and my safety was paramount to my recovery. Which, okay, I accepted and I trusted and went forward. Now, my first night in that place, I was still looking for somehow to hurt myself. And I found somehow, and I was going to do it, but somehow didn't. Anyway, from that point onwards, I had no more bad thoughts. Got past that. Worked with the medical team in there for a whole, I think probably 35 minutes. The rest of the time was me lying on my bed, examining my own head. And hand in hand with the psychiatrist, I got to the point where I was allowed 6 hours day leave. Took 6 hours day leave with my fiance, had a great day, didn't want to go back, but I did. And when I got back, I seen the psychiatrist, they let me go after the day leave, go with another patient. So I wanted to catch her on the way back. And just while standing there outside the office in the common area, I was cow punched from behind. Smashed in the head, lightning flashed for a minute, stunned, grabbed onto the window, and it's just made everything that led to my suicide attempt all that worse. So I'm at a stage now where I'm volatile, but I'm not in critical condition. My back, when that goes, that's no good. I'd just like anyone that hears this podcast to be able to not have to go through what I went through, maybe hear some advice from Sean or Charlie here or myself about the chronic pain and the pain management. That's another thing I've had to deal with myself. This podcast is here to help people. We don't want to talk about us all the time. We don't want to talk about pain all the time. We don't want to talk about mental illness all the time. But we thought it was a pretty good platform to start from, as we can all relate. I don't know what to say now, so we can edit that bit and we're in.
While they're talking about asking for help, I'd like to add that asking for help is never a weakness. I never understood why people see it as such. I understand that it's scary, but it takes strength to put your hand up and say, hey, I'm not doing okay, whether it be because of pain or mental health or your family or whatever. It's never a weakness.
It's not a weakness, and actually you'll find empowerment from it.
Absolutely.
Because it's a weakness. It's a place you get strength from what you thought was a weakness.
Yeah.
And it's total opposite of what you thought, and it's amazing. Like, I've got friends and family that I can call on for anything, and they'll be there. They're there to help. They haven't got all the answers. They haven't got all the solutions. Sometimes they can't help because they're worried about giving it whatever. It's good to ask for help. Just like when you don't know something, when you start a new job or a new school, if you don't ask, you don't know. If you don't ask for help, you won't get it.
I think I was really, really lucky when I was 28. I had a good relationship with the GP, the doctor, family doctor that we went to. He had been supervising the share care for my wife, who was pregnant twice in the last 2 or 3 years, so we knew him quite well. He also had removed a couple. I'm Irish and I live in a very sunny country, so he'd removed a few, precancerous things that had grown on my shoulder, or the farmer's tan down here, at the end of your shirt. And on one particular day when he'd done this,
Was he thinking about this?
yeah, he realised that, the little jump as he was stitching up my arm, at the end of it after taking it out, kind of indicated that I was feeling the pain of the restitching again. And he's like, went, oh, quickly, I'll give you another shot of local anaesthetic. I said, well, you've made the push through as it stands at the moment. You may as well just like sew it up at the moment and be done with it. It's not really that much pain. So I was kind of lucky from that point of view. The guy knew that I had a fairly high pain tolerance, and when I was presenting with him, he was, thank you, Dr. Harry Hirayama. I don't know if he's still in the world.
Thank you, Dr. Harry.
Yeah, I don't know if he's still in the world, but you saved my life, right? And he directed me to good services straight off the bat. I didn't get put into a psychologist cycle straight off the bat. He referred me straight to a psychiatrist, and I had MRIs on my head and on my nervous system by virtue of that straight away. They were able to identify from then that the various pain receptors in my brain lit up like Christmas, so there really was something going on there, even though they couldn't find what was going on elsewhere, so that's an interesting aspect of it, and I am really, really lucky that also I was a trade union member at the time, and CFMEU were heavily involved, and I got free legals and medical by virtue of my trade union membership. I know these are not things that are available to everyone, but without them at the time I would have been in a pretty bad shape. I know that Charlie has a different story to tell in that aspect. Yeah.
Don't even ask me.
The United Services Union has had my back completely though, and I do think I'd be in a worse situation without them having had my back. And regardless of my work experience, I would still tell everybody, look, take care of yourself. Join the
100%.
union, but you don't know. For me, I was on a tram. I was travelling from one work site to another. A woman accidentally hit me with her luggage. It seems like nothing. By the time I got home, there was a lump on my arm like that, and I saw my doctor 3 times in a week, and he upped my meds every time. Like, it seems like nothing, but unfortunately, those things can happen so easily. And I think also what Sean said, a good GP, you cannot get through this without a good GP. You just plainly and simply won't.
I can relate to that in a way that I don't have a good GP, and I think he's a really good GP because he's at the point now where my next step is for a GP to prescribe more medication for my mental health issues. But he would rather me deal with things with my psychologist and psychiatrist before that. There could be overlying issues, maybe it's thinking, maybe it's internal dialogue, maybe it's just me. But talking about it really is my GP's opinion on the best thing next to me rather than taking another pill on top of what I've already taken.
When I started this, I remember getting really excited about seeing pain management specialist, which is something I touched on a bit, because you call them a pain management specialist. I was under the very bad kind of wrong notion that they had access to kind of magic, I guess, in hindsight. But my doctors didn't. They were going to give me the magic medication,
Don't worry about red and blue, we have all colours.
There was just none of that. And I mean, look, they're still actually a really important component, but without my GP, I wouldn't have found the right pain management specialist, I wouldn't have found the right physiotherapist, I wouldn't have found any of them. I very possibly could have been wrongly diagnosed and thrown around forever, which is something that happens to a lot of people with chronic pain, especially nerve conditions, where they look at you and there's nothing to see.
What did you find about the medication they give you when you're going from there? Did it knock you about in your physicalness? I've taken it for a sciatica condition, probably 10 years ago. It still flares up every now and then, but I won't take the medication because I don't like the way it makes me feel.
Well, there's one that I just will not go back on.
What's that?
That's Lyrica.
is where if she was available, I'd call my fiance in, Kirsty, who's a
I
nurse.
actually thankfully spoke to a lot of nurses about who I've got to say, best people to talk to, even outside your GP. And if you're in your pain management group, you'll get access to them. They will do personal appointments with you if you have questions. Like, I asked my pain management guy about a ketamine infusion. The answers he gave me were so scary I went running. But when I sat down with a nurse who, actually is there during the infusion, not like the doctor, she sat down and really explained it to me properly and took away all of that fear that the doctor could actually given me. So just such incredible people for information and you can have a more human conversation I find with them too than a lot of doctors.
I can agree with that.
Other medications, I'm actually in the process of trying to come off a lot of my meds.
That's
Change my
magnificent.
medication. They have made me quite sick. I thought it was the pain. It turns out it was the medication.
Right, that's what I thought.
Yeah, so I've just told my doctor and my pain management specialist, and we're looking at changing a lot of that now. I've lost close to 10 kilos, and I mean, look at me, I'm not exactly big to begin with, so I couldn't afford to lose that weight.
Probably look smaller in the case,
yeah.
even more sitting next to us too.
And the worst part is, like, I've spent the last 2 months trying really hard, working like with a nutritionist and a diet gym to put that weight back on. It took a week for all of that weight to come straight back off of me having really bad nausea and vomiting again. A week, because again, as a small person, I can only put on so much weight at a time, like, so it's incredibly frustrating, and that's the big reason I'm trying to look at all of my medications at the moment. I'm taking less than I have ever had before. I'd rather be in pain than I would be sick.
Yep. I'm glad you said that in a way because that's how I feel.
Yeah.
I'd rather go through the pain that's intermittent, yes, but I can deal with that rather than taking the medication or the pharmacy drugs. It just make me feel sick, literally nauseous.
Yeah, it does. It has such an impact on your whole body, like not just where the pain is. It impacts the entire body.
100%.
Frustrating thing about the nerve condition, I'm working with an exercise physiologist at the gym at the moment, something I still laugh at, I'm a member of, but hey, we do what we can to recover.
That's it, 1 foot forward.
So one day I can hold a couple of kilos in my hand while I'm at gym and it's great. And seriously, another day I can't hold a spoon in that same hand to feed myself, and it's so frustrating. And there's not even there's no reason I can't hold that spoon, but I can't hold that spoon, man. Like the pain there will not let me, and it just will not happen.
Like, is there something inside a joint or something somewhere?
I have metal from here to here in my right arm from a braid.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Sean's gonna get sleep soon.
A lot of years ago. And they do think that could, like everything in these. They're like, oh yeah, that could be the problem, but it could also have nothing to do with it.
Oh, well, thank you for your help.
Eventually when my nerves calm down, they'll open me up and kind of make the decision once I'm open. Yay!
Okay, so yeah, Sean's not really going to sleep. Sean's being an observant prick, which he tends to be because Sean teaches university a little bit. Okay, so one of the things that I think that kind of completely got out was 2 aspects. And these are particularly destructive for people that deal with chronic pain. A, your first attempt at asking for help might not go as you expect.
True story.
Yeah, okay. To bring that straight back, to bring that straight back to a place that is relatable. I needed to be taking anti-inflammants for the spinal rehab because moving around their damaged spine will cause further swelling. So I was taking anti-inflammants. They're called non-steroidal anti-inflammants. They didn't make me feel that good, and I ended up having a vomiting kind of syndrome that was later diagnosed as gastroesophageal reflux disorder. And it took a operation called Nissen fundoplication, Nissen, which is essentially they take the bottom of your stomach up and they wrap it around your esophagus and turn your stomach into a cistern. So everything that has to go down first, before it goes back up again. And that has been enormously successful. The only downside of that is that I can't vomit. So I can't drink very much alcohol, and I have to be very, very careful about what I eat and consume in case I throw up. It was mind destroying. It was soul destroying going through rehab, and once you get part way going through spinal rehab and you lean forward and your whole stomach goes onto the ground, is just not a very, very nice situation. It's one of those things that I had to learn how to deal with. Today, even if I get struck with nausea today, I'll go through the same preliminary gastroesophageal reflux, retching, etc., etc. It's just not productive these days. Second aspect then of that is, so that's kind of medication and asking for it. Second aspect of this is that we've all become very aware, as it's being discussed in the news and as it's being discussed on television, that the things that are going on in the United States where they don't have the kind of health system that we're talking about here in Australia. A, the opioid crisis, and B, well, I should have put that the other way around. B, here at the moment is the way that states have opened up medicinal marijuana is clearly symptomatic of the fact that there are more people in society dealing with chronic pain conditions. You may also say that there's more people who like to get high, and I will probably agree with you on that straight off the bat. But it wouldn't have happened unless there was kind of a basis. And believe me, I lived through the original part of the war of drugs. I was born a long time ago. The rhetoric from that was just ridiculous. And you can see it beginning as a nascent form of rhetoric with regards to the opioid crisis at the moment. So, some of the things that I would kind of say straight away to everyone, if you want to, one of the things you should look at is Dr. Michael Mosley's, he does a lot of television documentaries, and he did a study recently about the difference between using opiates for chronic pain and opiates for pleasure. It broke down very, very simply. Dr. Michael Mosley, you can look it up, talking about opiates, and you can watch it on YouTube. Breaks down very simply as this. If you were taking opiates for pleasure, the receptors in your system will eventually get used to that, and eventually when you need to take opiates for pain, they don't work. If you are taking opiates for pain, forget about it. It's actually going to be having the effect that you want. And one of the things that pain management clinics have discovered in their last 20 years, quite easily, is that actually the variance for opiates is dramatic amongst humans. The tolerance for opiates is dramatic amongst humans. Personally, I take a tramadol preparation, 200 milligrams of tramadol every day. Some days I can completely do without. Some days I only take in a responsive kind of sense. I never get a withdrawal symptom. It never happens. Yeah? I never feel remotely sick. It's never happened. You got to take some brand, because one thing that opiates do is turn your poo into concrete.
All the brand.
Yeah?
All the brand. Like, all the brand.
Yeah.
Solid stuff there, Shawnee.
Very
Music
solid.
will become your best friend.
Yeah, you got to take a lot of that stuff. But, I'll be absolutely clear. I carry the prescription around in the car so that if I'm ever pulled over and tested on the side of the road, I can just immediately produce the prescription and say I have a reason for taking that opiate, and why that opiate metabolite will be in my system. I also take methylblastin for the arthritis, which is a form of chemotherapy. It works out at about a third of one chemotherapy dose once a week. That idea of that is to restrain my immune system, because in the end of the day, arthritis is your immune system attacking your joints for whatever reason. No one really knows. So I take that. It puts a bit of a constraint on my immune system. Works out really good. Cuts and things on your fingers and hands. You'll very, very slowly, though, as a result of that, And it's a hell of a scary thing to be told I'm putting you on a chemo drug. Yeah?
Yeah.
It's one of those things that makes the old butt muscle have a bit of a flex, you know? And it's not a pleasant thing to hear. That means that I must manage alcohol intake.
Let's see how I can give him a beer then.
Must
Drink
manage alcohol intake.
responsibly.
I had methotrexate Monday, which I don't drink at all, ever.
That was another thing I found. The methotrexate, once it was mentioned to me about being a cancer drug, I was reluctant to take it. Even though it's a thousandth of the dose or whatever it is, don't quote me on that. It was just a mindset I was in.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show, like how much someone's couple of words, this is a cancer drug. You go ahead.
And you know,
Yeah,
absolutely at the base level, we both Mark and I are Joe Rogan vlog fans, and you know, I mean, there is a Joe Rogan bit out there where Joe turns around to someone and says, you know, like, do you really want to take something that's essentially mustard gas? Well, that's a really big question. Everyone's going to have their own answer to that. I'm not telling you you should or you shouldn't. For me, it works.
We talk about things on this podcast, we don't give advice.
And always keep an open mind because things will change. Like things that I would not even think about in the beginning are starting to look like, you know, pretty attractive options right about now.
ABC 1, 2, 3, like in hindsight.
You've got to keep your eyes open for what's available and, you know, find the people that you're comfortable with because with the wrong doctor, like I don't like needles and yet one of my physiotherapists, incredible man. I let him do acupuncture on my arm and I'm not slightly scared because I have
confidence.
Complete confidence and faith in him. I know, and don't get me wrong, the warnings come with if accidentally gets stuck in the wrong spot. Even someone with chronic pain syndrome like you is going to scream. But again, if you've got that confidence, and it's the same with the medication. For me, it was endone. I was like, I really don't want to take that. But in reality, for a while, I had to. And interestingly, on that whole, like, it's not like you don't have the same addiction problem because you're not taking it for joy. Like, yeah, I was really scared of what coming off endone was going to be like, and yet it was honestly nothing. It was a click of a finger and it was done. And I'd been on it by that point for 6 months. I came off it not because of pain, because I felt like a zombie. And again, it was one of those things where I'm like, you know what? I'd rather more pain than zombie.
Yeah, exactly. It's a quirk inside yourself.
Yeah.
Just, okay, I feel better like that. But
you know, like there are still sometimes when I go back to my doctor and I'm like, you know what, things are so bad right now, I'm going to need that for a little while.
That's it.
But I can't be constantly like that. But yeah, they're decisions that everybody, I think, along the way has to just keep making for themselves.
I agree totally. I think it's an ongoing thing. It changes and morphs daily.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
Yep.
sometimes hourly.
Yep.
Environmentally?
Yeah, just because you can do something one
Politically.
day doesn't mean you can do it the next.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's just a couple on touch on a couple of points we were speaking about before. I can really relate to the scans not working and the CTs and all of them and the drugs. It's really, really important, I think, to find a good doctor. Don't just see one and think he's got all the answers. If you do, good luck to you. If it helps, go for it. But other than that, it's really hard. It's hard to get diagnosed with things, whether it's mental health or whether it's chronic pain. It's hard to get help. I find it hard in a way that I'm maybe a little bit paranoid about people looking at me and thinking that I'm lying about any mental health issues I've got or any pain that I've got because it's my back. If I have a broken arm, people will go, okay, I'll leave that for you.
Yeah, no, I hate it.
They believe you straight away.
I didn't work with compensation, and it does. Like, you definitely get people judge you for it and be like, why the hell aren't you back at work? And you're like, do you think I don't want to be back at work? Like, do you think if I had a choice, this is where I'd be right now? Like, come on.
Well, I can relate totally to that, and I've been out of work for nearly 12 months now. And yeah, I have done so much work around the house. I just need to be doing something. So
my counsellor told me, and she specialises in people with chronic pain conditions and injured workers.
Yep.
And the number one complaint she gets is actually about the system. Now these are people mainly who have chronic pain conditions, and the thing they're complaining to her about the most is pain is the system they're stuck in and the way they are treated by that system.
Yep.
I've never felt so powerless in my life. You know, I'm an active activist. I was raised that way. You know, I was raised powerful people, and I felt like a powerful person most of my life. Even though I've been, you know, working class housing commission kid, I have still
Did you
felt
feel that
like a
was-
powerful person.
Did you feel that was taken away from you, or
I
you lost it?
absolutely no. I felt like it was taken away.
Or-
But part of that was literally through legislative changes. Like, as an injured worker in this country, we have very little power. Like, if you do the slightest thing wrong,
Thanks,
you
Bob
forget.
K, you
Yeah.
numbskull.
You forget to
Tick.
get a certificate, you don't get paid, and yet my employer, like, literally broke almost every single legislative rule, almost every one.
Wow.
I made complaints to every level. We're talking your safe work, your WIRO, your FIRO, all of them. I couldn't do anything. All of them, like, and I was trying to get back to work.
Yeah.
I was
You're not trying to get on
back
benefits.
to work.
You're not trying to get a
Yeah, no,
disability
I
pension, so I'm
couldn't
trying to
even
get back
get
to work.
them to have the conversation with me.
No conversation.
They failed every single one of their obligations, and they got in no trouble for it. In
That's
the
just
end,
wrong.
were allowed to just let me go.
Shouldn't happen. Should be a safety net there.
And those safety nets have been completely and utterly destroyed. I mean, I'm now in a situation where I've got a year or so where my lawyers have to kind of decide whether or not I'm going to be disabled for the rest of my life. Like, how do we make
right.
that decision now?
But
You
the
know,
bloke in the
obviously
suit that's
I
going
don't
to tell
wanna
you how
be.
long you're going to be
But
disabled for.
I also have to think about, logically, whether or not I'm going to be, because if I can't work for the rest of my life, then I need to be covered for that. Like, I
And there's a
desperately want that.
contingency plan needs to be put into place.
Yeah, but the system only gives us a really limited amount of time to do that, and when you're dealing with something like chronic pain syndrome, like,
It's a bit harsh.
it's incredibly harsh.
Incredibly harsh. I agree.
So one of the things that, okay, so that's quite specific, and completely worth saying in the Australian context, no doubt about it. The other thing that I kind of just wanted to step back for a moment, and possibly broaden what we're saying here, to some extent, at least from an audience point of view. When we get down to talking about things like medicinal marijuana and fentanyl opioid crisis in the United States, I think it's really worthwhile pointing out really early on that those kind of social changes, changes in the kind of drugs that are available for pain and for chronic conditions, are really quite common after war times. And one of the things that led to changes in the United States was very, very clearly the fact that you had a lot of veterans returning from places like Iraq and Afghanistan with very visible chronic pain problems because of the injuries or wounds they had sustained. Therefore, society took a made a reappraisement, took a reappraising approach, made some of these particularly effective heavy drugs available, and put them out there. And Mark has just reminded me by writing down here in front of me that the thing that you might find in a broader sense is that whilst those were made available to veterans and their family, trauma from pain is not something that just the person experiencing the pain actually experiences, yeah? Trauma from pain is something that affects all of your family, all of your relations, to varying degrees.
From your partner to your parents to your children.
Yep, to your in-laws. My dad, he's gone now. He died in 2016. Fantastic death, Eddie. I only found out that he was sick on Tuesday and he was dead on Saturday. So if you're going to go, that's the way to go, guys.
I told you not to fuck around.
He wasn't a man for fucking around anytime. But one of the things that he found really, really difficult to cope with was the fact that I had accepted that I had a disability. Yeah, he couldn't deal with that idea. He was like, but there has to
Should
be
have took him
some
to Coles
way.
and shown him what he can do.
Yeah, there has to be some way of getting better. That's a very, very normal mindset. Yeah, it can be a really, really tough mindset for the person that is dealing with chronic pain to deal with. He's my dad. I'm his eldest son. I completely understood where he was coming from. You know, he couldn't see, to use a wonderful Game of Thrones title,
I drink and I know
cripples,
things.
cripples, bastards, and broken things. You know,
I'm
it's
all
very,
three.
very hard. Yeah, yeah. So you know, you know, and I think this was really something that he did find hard to deal with. But, and if I've got a final note that I'm going to contribute myself in this first podcast, cripples, bastards, and broken things are stronger than you will ever realise. Yeah? And there is
Something
an
broken
enormous
can be broken down
reserve.
again.
Oh, yeah.
There is an enormous reserve of strength comes from that. If that's the step that you have to make to deal with the mental health repercussions and the pain, then take that fucking step. Yeah? Take it. Be empowered by it. Yeah? Because it's no bullshit. Yeah? It really is a resource. Not a crutch, a resource. Yeah? And sometimes you have to make that step.
Like, I think maybe what I was saying before, I lost my power as a worker,
Yep.
and that hurt. But yeah, through this as well, as a person, I've absolutely discovered how strong I am because I couldn't do what I do most days now
Self-realisation, isn't that so
without that
unbelievable?
strength. Like, there's just genuinely no way I do it.
Congratulations, man. I'm glad you did.
And you know, it's important, like you said, because obviously it's a bit of it's a huge, like, holy crap, what just happened in my life and all the negativity and all of that. But yeah, when you can look at it for, you know, what I get through just on a day to day is pretty freaking amazing. There's power in that, and it does. It helps you move forward and look at what you're coping with and be like, hey man, if I can cope with this, there's probably a lot of other things I can do. Maybe not as easily as everybody else, but I can still bloody do it.
And I think that's a good way to maybe end this little podcast on, is that's exactly right. This is what this is about. This is about helping, this is about dealing, this is about getting through, this is about once you go through something every day and you're taking that extra one step every day, in a year you've moved immeasurably forward within yourself. And I think there'll be things to draw off. This podcast is just about everything. Anyone wants to talk about their band or their dog or their
Oh, I'm totally
whatever.
talking about my dog
Oh, yeah.
all the time.
A couple of mine have come in here and nudged me on the leg, going, what are you doing? It's later puppies. So we hope
We hope we made a human connection.
Yeah.
For people that are looking for a human connection, we will be back.
We have no solutions, we have talk time.
Yeah, and sometimes just talking helps a lot.
Most of the time talking helps a lot. Appreciate it, guys.
Cheers.
Leave comments, questions,
Yes.
anything we can
Talk
do.
to
We will
us.
definitely try. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Nice work, guys.
That was well organised, even though we didn't.
That was
Well organised, even though we
Pretty
didn't
cool.
organise shit.